Protesters have once again taken to the streets in the U.S. state of Missouri demanding justice for slain African-American teenager Michael Brown. The protesters accused police of racial discrimination against African-Americans and called on authorities to bring to justice the officer who murdered the 18-year-old teenager. Nearly 50 people were arrested in the latest round of demonstrations after police tried to disperse the protesters. Police earlier told journalists to leave the streets and to go to their designated area or they too will be arrested. The unrest in Ferguson has forced the security forces to use heavy-handed tactics such as firing tear gas and rubber bullets, which has caused injuries. But the Missouri police say Tuesday's protest was less violent than previous nights.
We had to respond to fewer incidents than the night before. There were no Molotov cocktails tonight. There were no shootings, but a vehicle did approach the command center and threats were made to kill a police officer. We identified the vehicle, located it, and made arrests, and seized 2 loaded handguns. In another incident, a third loaded handgun also was seized. However, at about midnight, bottles were thrown at police officers near public storage business located in West Ferguson that forced police to deploy their helmet shields for protection and then break into the crowd and search for the agitators, who hid behind the media for safety. All night and early this morning, no smoke bombs, no tear gas was used by police. We did deploy very limited pepper spray. And tonight, once again, no police officer fired a single bullet.
Caleb Moppin, our correspondent, joins us now from Ferguson, Missouri, to bring us up to speed on the situation on the streets. Caleb?
Well, we are back at our hotel now, but the confrontation, my cameraman and I were there when it occurred. We were there for roughly about 3 hours, and repeatedly while we were there were crowds that were assembling. They were marching and circling the block, and then the police would move in and push the crowd into one area, and then the crowd would move to another area. And all of a sudden, it seemed like out of nowhere, there seemed to be some kind of confrontation going on, and the crowd began running toward one end of the street. So we ran down there, and then there was a line of police with their guns drawn, with shotguns drawn, and we started to hear explosions. Now, at first we thought it was gunfire. That was probably the intention, was that we would think it was gunfire. It was probably some sort of flashbang device being used. People were forced to the ground. Guns were put to the back of people's heads. It was a very, very intense situation, and the area was cleared. It was an intense situation. There was pepper spray being sprayed, and apparently it all started when a single plastic bottle was thrown at the police. There is video that has surfaced of a single plastic bottle being thrown at the police line, and in response to that, the police just, everything went crazy. That was kind of, it was a situation with a very tense emotions, and the one bottle was thrown, and then everything went crazy.
Caleb, let's turn our attention to the issue of the officer who shot and killed Michael Brown. Darren Wilson has not been apprehended. He is on administrative leave. That kind of adds fuel to the flames of the demonstrators, as they might feel that the city officials are now adding insult to injury as well.
Yes. In fact, there are reports that members of the racist white organization known as the Ku Klux Klan are actually raising money for the police officer who shot Michael Brown, and that T-shirts with the officer's badge number are being distributed, and that there has now been some kind of mass campaign in support of Michael Brown, or in support of the officer who killed Michael Brown. The thing that was communicated to me most clearly on the streets was a lot of people were saying that the reason that they were out there, a lot of the young people that were out there were saying the reason they were there is because they didn't have faith that their issues would be addressed in the courts. And then they said that the killing of Michael Brown was just one incident, but there's a long-standing mistrust and anger at the police department of St. Louis and the surrounding areas by the young people in the area. Young people often feel that they're being bullied and threatened and intimidated by the police on a daily basis. They feel that the police don't trust them, and that they have no opportunity to defend themselves in court if they are mistreated by police.
Thank you very much, Caleb Muppin, joining us from Ferguson, Missouri.